The CEO stood in front of the company's executive team with complete confidence. For years, the single dad mechanic had been one of the most respected workers in the organization, but the CEO now believed his methods were old-fashioned. New technology, modern systems, and highly educated specialists seemed like the future. The mechanic's quiet approach no longer impressed the executives who were chasing bigger profits and faster growth. During a meeting, the CEO announced that the company would be moving in a new direction. He thanked the mechanic for his years of service, but informed him that his position was no longer needed. The single dad accepted the decision without argument and calmly walked away. Soon afterward, the company hired a group of expensive experts from some of the most prestigious firms in the country. Their resumes were impressive, and their confidence made a strong impression on the board of directors. They promised to improve production, reduce costs, and increase profits within a few months. The CEO proudly introduced them to the workforce and explained that they represented a new era for the company. Many employees felt uneasy because they knew how much knowledge the former mechanic possessed. But nobody questioned the decision. The experts immediately began changing procedures, replacing long-standing systems, and implementing strategies they believed would transform the business. At first, everything seemed to be going according to plan. Reports looked impressive, presentations were filled with ambitious projections, and investors appeared excited about the company's future. The CEO praised the experts publicly and used their early results as proof that replacing the single dad had been the right choice. However, beneath the surface, problems were beginning to appear. Small mistakes started occurring in production lines that had previously operated smoothly for years. Equipment experienced unexpected failures, delivery schedules became inconsistent. Manned customers began reporting quality issues. The experts blamed these problems on outdated machinery and insisted that their plans would eventually solve everything. As the weeks passed, the situation became worse. The experts spent enormous amounts of money trying to fix issues they did not fully understand. Machines stopped working at critical moments, causing costly delays. Production targets were repeatedly missed, and important contracts were placed at risk. Employees who had once relied on the mechanic's guidance struggled to adapt because nobody else understood the systems as deeply as he had. Frustration spread throughout the company as departments blamed one another for the growing failures. Despite their qualifications, the experts seemed unable to identify the real causes of the problems that were damaging the business every day. Within a few months, the company was facing serious financial losses. Millions of dollars had disappeared through failed projects, wasted resources, and declining customer confidence. Investors demanded answers, and board members began questioning the CEO's judgment. During an emergency meeting, the experts nervously reviewed the situation and admitted they could not find a solution. That was when an uncomfortable truth began to emerge. Unknown to the CEO, every one of those highly paid specialists had once learned valuable skills from the same single dad mechanic he had dismissed. The man considered outdated had actually been the foundation of their knowledge, and now his absence was costing the company everything. The atmosphere inside the emergency boardroom was tense and uncomfortable. Financial reports covered the table, each one showing deeper losses than the last. Investors were demanding explanations, customers were canceling contracts, and employees feared for their jobs. The CEO looked around the room, expecting answers from the highly paid experts he had trusted. Instead, he saw uncertainty and frustration on their faces. After several minutes of silence, one of the senior specialists slowly stood up. He knew what he was about to say could change everything. Taking a deep breath, he looked directly at the CEO and decided it was finally time to reveal the truth. "Sir," the expert said quietly, "the man you fired trained all of us. Everything we know came from him." The room instantly fell silent. Several executives exchanged shocked glances while the CEO stared in disbelief. The expert explained that years earlier, when they were young technicians and engineers, the single dad had patiently taught them practical skills that no university or training program could provide. His understanding of machinery, problem-solving abilities, and leadership had shaped their careers. Although they had earned degrees and prestigious positions, much of their success came from lessons he had shared. Suddenly, the company's recent failures began to make sense. The CEO sat quietly after hearing the confession. For the first time, he realized he had judged the mechanic based on appearances rather than value. He had mistaken humility for weakness and experience for outdated thinking. Determined to correct his mistake, the CEO personally searched for the single dad. After several inquiries, he found him working at a small local garage. The former employee was repairing an old vehicle when the CEO arrived. Instead of anger or bitterness, the single dad greeted him politely. Embarrassed by his actions, the CEO admitted his mistakes and explained the company's crisis. Then he humbly asked for help. The single dad listened carefully without interrupting. He understood that the company's problems were affecting hundreds of workers and their families. Although he had every reason to refuse, he chose a different path. He believed that leadership was not about revenge, but about responsibility. The next morning, he returned to the company and immediately began examining the failing systems. Within hours, he identified mistakes that had been overlooked for months. He simplified complicated processes, repaired critical equipment issues, and reorganized workflows. Employees quickly regained confidence as production lines improved. The experts watched with admiration as their former mentor solved problems that had seemed impossible. Over the following weeks, the company experienced a remarkable recovery. Production stabilized, customer trust returned, and financial losses gradually decreased. During a company-wide meeting, the CEO stood before employees and publicly acknowledged his error. He admitted that titles, degrees, and expensive salaries had blinded him to the value of wisdom and character. He thanked the single dad for his generosity and leadership, recognizing that the company would not have survived without him. The workers responded with a standing ovation. That day, everyone learned an unforgettable lesson. True greatness is not measured by position or status, but by knowledge, integrity, humility, and the willingness to help others succeed.